Good guys, my name is Lord Tomo here again with another Sonic the Hedgehog toy item collectible review. As you already know, I am Lord Tomo, and we have the little blue star here, good old Sonic the Hedgehog. As you can probably see in the back-ish, if I turn around there, we basically have a lot of comics in there. Good old Sonic is helping me archive my 7 boxes of comics. Not all Sonic, of course, but you get the drift. It's a very, very, very long process that is archiving it. Simply what I'm doing, long story short, is finding out the issues that I want replaced, finding the issues, the issues that I want to get, which issues are missing, stuff like that. But obviously that's not what we're here for. We're here to actually review certain stuff, and today we have a Sonic the Hedgehog card game, this time from Mattel. Mattel games, in other words. Basically Mattel obviously is, for the most part, as you probably guys do know, a Barbie manufacturer. Can Barbie pretty much the works, but once upon a time they had a subdivision where they created games and all that sort of stuff. This was one of them. So yeah, let's get into it, shall we? Now, for the most part, in this case, I like the box, but it doesn't really stand out as much as I would like. Pretty much what you see is pretty homogeneous to the actual green hill zone. You have basically a lot of checkers just circulating around. You have the actual company itself, Mattel Games. Wow. You can obviously tell brands back then weren't as great as they are now. You have a picture of good old Sonic the Hedgehog kind of jumping out with on the ring in a very 3D isometric sort of view, if you can really say that. The only off-putting is if you look at the fists. Weird, eh? It's you know it's a fist, it just doesn't look right. Anyway, that's beside. You have obviously 2 little choppers there. You have a Buzzbee. Now this is what I mean about off-putting. If you really want to, okay, ideally when you're meant to use your imagination, you're going to imagine these little choppers jumping out of the water trying to bite him in the Buzz Bomber. But that would make more sense if perhaps maybe the Buzz Bomber was above the actual choppers, kind of giving you that 3D effect where the actual robots are jumping out and the Buzz Bomber is on top of the air trying to shoot him down. I don't know, it just doesn't look right to me. You also have obviously on the other side good old Dr. Robotnik shaking his fist, which once again, if you look closely, he's got a weird looking fist. I can't shake that off, it just bugs me. And you have another Buzz Bomber, which this time is actually shooting Dr. Robotnik. You have ages 6 up, 2 to 4 players, and obviously on the side here, based on the Sega's #1 video game. Now, it's a good picture overall. However, whoever did this obviously didn't. Okay, I'm not an artist. I'm not going to say. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm an artist. But you could tell by just looking at this picture, it's pretty off-putting. Just the hands, the positioning of certain characters. Just I don't know. It's hard to really describe it. It just doesn't look right. For the most part, it looks good. It just doesn't look right in terms of the scaling, proportions, positioning, that sort of stuff. But that's just my personal opinion. On this side, it probably looks by far one of the better looking ones. You have obviously the same as just the cover. This time you have a good picture of Sonic dashing, running. Oddly enough, if you look closely, if I can get a good shot at that, this time around, well, this hand looks right. This hand looks alright still, but kind of off-putting nonetheless. Mattel Games, nonetheless. I would have preferred maybe card games, kind of stands out by itself, but meh, not going to complain. On the side exactly the same, on the other side exactly the same. On the back is probably just one of the small differences. Now I'm going to get a really good view of this. I hope this focuses well. You can definitely pause and read the instructions, and on this side you have pretty much everything that's going to be there. You have Mattel, manufactured and distributed by International Games, etc, etc, Sonic the Hedgehog characters, etc. An easy to learn, easy to play card game based on Sega's #1 video game. Wow. And you have the objective to be the first player to win the most gold ring cards, or win pardon me, the emeralds by the time ring cards, or win with 6 emerald cards by the time all 6 cards have been played. Pretty sorry. I'm not going to run through the extra instructions and so much how to play and all that sort of stuff. I haven't actually played this game myself. Haven't had the time. Well, I did have the time, I just don't have anybody to really play with this with. So anyway, we'll check it out, see how it is, go from there. In the inside, this pretty much just out really. Pardon me. Now obviously everything that you see is meant to ideally come out. This is just the instruction sheets, so like the card game instructions. Please, I'll hold this properly. Please focus, please. Yeah, you can pause, you can read it. There you go. Okay, what do we have next? We have more instructions. Like I said, I'm not going to bother with too much instructions. Maybe if you guys request them, maybe I can have like, you know, kind of like a let's play with this card game and get somebody to come and play with me. You can probably pause it, have check it out, read it, that sort of stuff. And on the side, you just have, you know, how much points and what, etc, etc. Alright, decent. You have a gamepad, which is, you know, obviously play 1, play 2, play 3, play 4. I think it's up to, yeah, it didn't mention to play 4. So you kind of have enough, you know, little sheets there to really mess around. And game 1 total, game 2 totals, most rings ring. Pretty straightforward. You have obviously this little part before I show you the tray, because honestly the tray is probably by far the interesting. You just get this little cardboard bit. It doesn't really do anything, just holds everything together pretty much. Put this aside there. Now in this tray pretty much you have a whole bunch of stuff, which you hold the cards, zones and all that sort of stuff. I will show you each card. I won't, you know, get into too much on what each card does in the actual game things, because that would be too much of a long, you know, review as such, as we're trying to focus on the actual item itself. However, obviously if you do want to request like a let's play sort of this game, you know, why not. So first we go through the one pocket here. Oh, everything's gonna fall down. Okay, hold yourself, hold. Okay, so you have, these are pretty much the cards really, but you have one ring. We have a couple of one rings. One ring. So you can tell, you know, just a couple of one rings. These are the points basically, amongst other things really. Okay, there's more one rings. You know, I'm not gonna go too crazy into. They do look alright. Like I guess you could say they're alright. Very simple, but I guess it does. You know, rings are rings, right? You're not gonna go super crazy in terms of, you know, notifying. Oh my God, it doesn't look like the rings in the actual game. Well, la di da. You know what I mean? Okay, so you get a whole, I'm not entirely sure, you get more rings, which is pretty much just the standard. You have chaos emeralds, which are these. They're exactly the same. I'm really, how much do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you have 6 chaos emeralds. I would have preferred if these chaos emeralds were pretty much different in terms of, pardon me, in terms of just color, like purple, light blue, dark blue. I think there was a grey one as well. You know, even though technically, even the original Sonic the Hedgehog game, he didn't actually become Super Sonic. He only had 6 Chaos Emeralds, which I guess this game pays homage to. It still was different colors. I would have preferred that, to be honest, directly honest. I would have preferred different colors, but for whatever reason, they stuck by it. And we have, okay, if I can get this thing out properly. Okay. Put this aside. Put that there. Okay. These are cards. These. Card fell down. Who cares? We'll pick it up later. So on the back, they're exactly the same here. Just a picture of Sonic jumping out of the rings, and that's pretty much it. Pardon me. And on these ones you have more variations of what these cards are. For the first, I think 5 or 10, it's just, no, okay, for the first, well, what do you know, we have a ring amongst the masses. We'll put that there. Okay, for the first 2 you have good old Sonic jumping out of Sonic Spring, which, if you look closely, his legs look a bit off, eh? I can't really explain it, but that's that. The next one is Sonic Speed Fan. He goes faster with the fan behind him. I don't know. There's a few of those. The next one is Sonic Shield. Sonic Shield. This one's pretty. This one's by far so far the best amongst the other ones. So you have about 4 of those. The next one is Sonic Spring, standard. This one looks weird. I would have preferred they had the figure 8 running, but he has Sonic running. Still pretty okay. Nothing too crazy there. You have a few of those, and the next one is a Sonic Spin. Pretty cute actually. Actually captures the actual spin ball effect. Pretty nice, like that. You have a few of those, and you go to the badniks, the bad ones. You have Caterkiller. You have about 4 of those, I think. Yep, 4 of those. You have... Why did I call it a Chomper? I was calling in the box Chomper or Jaws, but apparently it's actually called Jaws. Now, if you looked in the box, the cover, it looks way more detailed. Not this one, but the other one. This one just looks grey, orange, and purple. Wow, they really went crazy with the art style there. The next one is Crab. Pretty alright. You can get 4 of those. Yeah, 3 of those actually. The next one is Buzz Bomber. Pretty decent, I suppose. You have a Dr. Robotnik. This will be in the marble zone when he drops fires and destroys the ground. What else do we have? Pardon me. We have the jungle zone. We have the bridge zone. I'm not aware of that. We have scrap range zone. Sky base zone. And if you notice this, it's pretty much the Sonic, speed in the background. Pretty labyrinth zone. And we have the green hill zone. So that's pretty much it, really. Like, it's meant to be a basic. Where's the card that fell down? Come on. Alright. So as May mentioned, it's basically the card game itself is featured around, well, as you probably guessed, the cards, So I'll just put this in as quickly as humanly possible so I can talk about it a bit. So yeah, so for the most part, this is a game that's obviously based around the game. Pretty ironic that I would use that terminology, but ideally it's just, it's trying to capitalize on the success of Sonic at the time, and obviously Sega or Sonic Team at the time licensed out the actual license to use the characters, and as such they grabbed obviously the best part of this game and just created this game, which So like I said, in terms of fun factor, I really haven't played it, so I can't really say for 100% sure if it's going to be awesome or not. I'm going to assume probably it is, The art style, besides the box, which is probably the most interesting, if at all, the cards themselves are pretty bland, as you probably saw. It's not enough, colouring of them, all that sort of stuff, which was, disappointing for the most part, but I guess they're there just to, focus so much on the game, not so much on the actual, art style, even though having a combination of both, since it's in a print machine, would have been quite feasible. In terms of rarity, if you're into board games themselves, I know there's collectors out there that are just into board games, not just Sonic, like all board games, just the odd, the weird, and pretty much all of them. And pretty much the actual, from a Sonic board, if you're a board collector and a Sonic fan, this will obviously a higher ranking in terms of rarity. Just obviously a Sonic collector like myself and collecting to merchandise, I'll probably maybe give this 7 stars out of 10. Nothing too crazy rare, but it is definitely up there in terms of getting everything in its brand new mint condition, as this one pretty much is. When was this released, more or less? It was released more or less in 1992, thereabouts, and it was created obviously by Mattel. Now how much did I get for this? I think I got this at the time for about $40 plus shipping. I'm pretty sure that's how much it was at the time. As to what it is now, look, I haven't seen one since, so I can't be entirely sure. So I'm going to assume, the prices is definitely going to go up. Well, guys, I do appreciate you watching another review, and we shall see what happens in the future. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this review. Leave a comment, leave anything. Totally up to you. This channel is all about you, and obviously my collection, which is something you like, I'm guessing. Maybe? Who knows? Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and speed on.